Well, that's our Hillbillies Hooterville trivia, and I hope some of that stumped you. I just love stumping the audience with that. But I hope that for those of you who really zeroed in on both shows, that you did quite well with that. And if you got anywhere from 8 or more, I just give yourself a big pat on the back. Go get some more heavily sweetened iced tea and enjoy that as we continue on. I said we were traveling across America tonight. We went from Arkansas to California to wherever in the Midwest that Petticoat Junction was. And now we're going to take you to Florida. And we're going to have it for a couple of shows here. I feel pretty good about that because that's where I am now. But a show that seemed in a locale that seemed to be tailor-made for an action-adventure show in television in its earliest days, the first decade, was the Everglades. You always heard stories about forest rangers that were encountering dangerous situations and also having to deal with alligators, everything else that you could possibly imagine with the situation in that part of Florida. And so they decided to make, in fact, it was the Ziv Company that had done so many shows, they decided to make a show called The Everglades that starred a young actor named Ron Harper that had everything written all over him that he was going to be a next big star. And he had 3 opportunities at doing a series on television, 2 that were dramatic, 1 that was comic, and none of them succeeded, unfortunately. Because he did have plenty of talent, but after you get 3 strikes at that, a lot of times producers just won't take a look at you anymore. And a special guest performer on this episode of The Everglades, which is from 1960, is a young actress who had done films and then was beginning to do television. And she really was being touted on as, again, another one of the next big female stars that they thought might hit it big in the movies. Unfortunately for her, it didn't turn out that way. And in fact, after she played the final season of Hazel with that substitute family that they had after eliminating, for budget reasons, Don DeFore and Whitney Blake, it was just not a good situation for Mala Powers. And by that point in time, she had become a little bit impressed with herself. And you talk to some of the people who were on that edition of Hazel, and they will tell you that she had a little bit of, well, I'm stuck on myself with that. But regardless, here's another example of her work. So we take you back on this one, 65 years. It wasn't successful, but it did have a lot of action to it. The Everglades.